physical intelligence. We are learning how to control our body. Nothing comes automatically. Even the ability to sit without falling requires controlling our musculoskeletal system through the brain. So this is the first kind of intelligence that develops in our personality. And later on in life, in old age, again, that physical intelligence is very critical to understand your body and keep it healthy. Then when we enter school, the second intelligence becomes the focus. That is our cognitive intelligence, CQ, or more popularly, IQ. So this involves our ability to understand problems, analyze them, and create solutions, which is what schoolwork involves. And we keep on cultivating the IQ as we go through the grades until we reach adolescence. And then life becomes complex because now there are so many kinds of emotions and relational networks. So the third intelligence becomes the focus, and this is EQ, or emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, we will come back to it again, but just briefly, has three aspects to it. Some people say 4 aspects, some people 5, some people 6, but 3 important parts. The first is self-awareness, emotional. To understand my emotions. Oh, there is anger arising. Oh, I am experiencing craving, etc. That's the first part. Emotional awareness. The second part of it is emotional mastery. To be able to handle my emotions and control them in accordance with my wish. And the third is emotional empathy. To understand what's going on in the minds of others. To have empathy means to realize, okay, my behavior can affect so and so in this manner. This becomes essential in our relationships with others. So as the EQ keeps on developing, in early adulthood, the fourth intelligence evolves to a certain extent in different people. And what is that? That is SQ, or spiritual intelligence. So spiritual intelligence makes us think, what is the purpose of life? Who am I? Why am I here in this world? What are my duties? What is my relationship with the whole? So these questions become very strong for people whose spiritual intelligence has evolved a lot, and they are unimportant for many others. So SQ would be a topic in itself, but today our topic is focused upon EQ and in particular anger management. This concept of emotional quotient was popularized by Daniel Goleman. In 1995, he published a book emotional intelligence. And subsequently, in 1998, in the Harvard Business Review, he wrote a paper by the same name, in which he published the findings of his research in 200 corporations around the world. And he established a strong case that corporations where the people had higher EQ were more effective in their work. So that is when EQ, or emotional intelligence, became popular all over. So, like I said, three aspects of emotional intelligence. The first is emotional self awareness. And I saw that was one of the topics of discussion during your 3-day convention. The second, emotional mastery. How do I master my feelings? And the third, emotional empathy, ability to understand others. So, coming to this point of anger. Now, anger creates great problems. People destroy properties because of the rage and fury. They even commit murder. There are government laws in place. If you commit violence, you can be put into jail. And yet people are not able to control it. In America, I am speaking to you today from Dallas, Texas, actually. So it is about 5:30 in the morning. In America, there's a phenomenon called road rage. People drive on highways and it's all very organized as lane driving. So when an American comes to India on the roads, it seems to them as if it's a video game going on. You push in here, you push in there, because they are used to lane driving. But then there is so much of rage in the drivers that if one person cuts into your lane ahead of you, the person becomes upset. And every year there are cases of the driver who has been cut lifting a revolver and shooting the person in front. But this is a case of rage fury. An episode once happened in Uttar Pradesh. There was a case going on between two brothers about the division of their father's property. And the younger brother won. In the evening, he was returning back home. He was crossing by the courtyard of his elder brother who had lost. And the mother used to reside with the elder brother. They were both sitting in the courtyard when the younger one passed by. They were Thakurs. The property holders, zamindars in Uttar Pradesh, are called Thakur. So while passing by the younger brother, they have big mustaches. He lifted his mustache and twirled it around. The mother became furious. She told her elder son, "Beta, if you have drunk my milk, teach him a lesson." He took a stick and killed him. Later on, when an inquiry was done, what was the reason for this murder? It was dug out that the only thing that happened was somebody lifted his mustache. But think about it. That is how anger happens. There is a trigger in the environment that causes a rage within us, which could be tiny and we could suppress it, or it could be huge. And when it is huge, and we have that fuming emotion in our Mind, today's science tells us, it actually poisons the blood. There is a mind-body connection whereby the emotions in the mind can change the chemical composition of our blood and the functioning of our organs. So anger has been known to poison people's blood. So what is causing anger? Something in the environment. Now, how to handle this problem of anger and do anger management? Anger is not a bad thing if we call it. Like, for example, if a student is indisciplined and misbehaving, you need to behave sternly with that student to send the message that indiscipline will not be allowed. So you pretend to be angry. Now, is there anything wrong with that? Not at all. You may lift your voice. You may also gesticulate furiously. But inwardly, you know, you have called anger. Whenever you like, you can reject it. In a corporation or any work environment, sometimes the boss needs to display anger to the subordinate. It is necessary to maintain discipline. So anger is not wrong if we are calling it. Lord Krishna also called anger. When the Pandavas were doing the Rajasuya Yagya, at that time, the beginning itself, the question arose that the Agra Puja, the first puja, should be done of which personality? And Yudhishthir said that when Shri Krishna here, Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum, then where is the question of anybody else? The Agra Puja should be done of Lord Krishna himself. Everybody was happy with the decision except Shishupal, who was also present there. Shishupal hated Krishna from birth itself. There's a very interesting story that said that when Shishupal was born, he had 3 arms and 4 legs. And his mother, seeing his grotesque form, wanted to throw him away. It seems like evil personified has come to my house. But then Narad said to his mother, look, you cannot kill him. The person who kill him is the one. When he takes this Shishupal into his lap, his extra arm and legs will disappear. So subsequently, Shishupal's mother, after a few years, when Shishupal was 2-3 years old, happened to take him to Krishna. And Krishna put the baby in his lap, and his arms and legs disappeared, the extra ones. Mother said, oh, Krishna is going to be the killer of my child. She begged, please forgive him. Now, Krishna said, I will forgive him 100 times, but not beyond that. As Shishupal grew a little older, he came to know that Krishna is going to be his death. And he developed such hatred, he could not tolerate this name Krishna. Here he was present in the Rajasuya Yagya, and Yudhishthira has announced the Agra Puja will be of Krishna. So he burst over in a rage of anger and started shouting, this can never be. Don't you know he is an ordinary cowherd taking care of cows? So he started blaspheming Jagat Guru Shri Krishna. Krishna did not become angry. He quietly kept listening and counting. 1, 2, 3. The moment the limit of 100 was crossed, he called anger, come here. And then he burst into rage. How dare you insult? He invoked the Sudarshan Chakra and set it to chop off Shishupal's throat. So Yogeshwar Sri Krishna became angry. But the difference was he called the anger. If you call anger or desire, there is no harm in it. The problem with us is that anger comes of its own accord, uninvited. There is the difficulty. So we need to analyze, why does anger happen? Do we become angry, or does anger happen to us? This is what we first need to resolve. Do emotions happen to us, or do we invoke these emotions? Sometimes people say, Swamiji, nowadays I no longer feel any love for my wife or my husband. They feel that love is happening. A lot of people are in this misconception that emotions happen to them. But that's not really so. Consider this example. Let us say that you were asked by your senior to meet him in the office at 8 o'clock for a very special appointment where your job performance was to be reviewed. You live 1 hour away from the institute. So you set up an early morning alarm, and the alarm did not ring at 6 o'clock. By the time you woke up, it was 6:45. So that made you a little angry. And then when you wanted to visit the restroom, the washroom, your family member had kept it blocked for 10-15 minutes, and that made you a little more angry. Finally, when you washed up and came for breakfast, your spouse did not have it ready in time. You became even more angry. When you took your vehicle and hit the road, after a little while, you discovered that one truck had turned and stopped the traffic, which had piled up, causing a traffic jam. So by the time you came to your boss's office, you were 50 minutes late. And your boss gave you a piece of his mind. So hearing that, you became extremely angry. So what is the cause of your anger? Who is responsible for your anger? Is it the boss who shouted at you? Or is it the truckwala who stopped the traffic? Or else, is it your spouse who delayed in the food? Or the family member who kept the washroom blocked? Or the alarm clock which did not ring in time? Who is responsible for our anger? Now, you people have gone through a workshop on emotional intelligence, so you have probably discussed this point. Nobody is responsible except our own selves. What does that mean? That means no matter what the environment or the situation, our emotions are always our own responsibility. Responsibility means the ability to respond. Somebody may abuse you, but how you respond is always a choice that you make. Some people subjugate this choice and they go into the reactive mode. So their emotions are in the control of the environment. This makes them angry, this makes them happy. Now, for little children to behave like that, it is fine. Children, when they are in a bad mood, they always point fingers. It's because of mommy and because of papa. But as we grow up, we are expected to become emotionally mature, which means no matter what happens, I will not become angry. Now, you may have faced very early in my prachar life as a spiritual teacher, this happened. I was giving lecture in a small town in Odisha, in a place called Baudh. In the town hall, there were 1,000 people sitting. And as a teacher, it was important to have the complete attention of everyone, hence ensure pin drop silence, which was the environment. And I was speaking very happy that people were grasping the topic. When one mother allowed her 3-year-old child to run loose, and the little child came through the in-between alley, disturbing the attention of everyone until it came right in front, and nobody was looking at me any longer. They were looking at the child. All the effort I was putting at grabbing people's attention had suddenly been disrupted because of this mother's carelessness. So, at least I hope I called anger. I did not intentionally become angry. So, I thought it necessary to give a scolding so that this never happens again. And I raised my voice to say, why do you allow your children to disrupt the meeting like this? You should have a sense of responsibility. And later on, a few people came to me and said, after the program, there has been a reaction from the crowd. The public says he's a Swamiji. Why did he become angry? So I had a learning lesson that, look, no matter what happens, as a Swamiji, you are not allowed to become or even show anger. But that is emotional maturity. People who are not mature will say, my emotions are because of the environment. Why are you having a mood off? It is all his fault. He behaved like this. Now, such people, to become happy, they need others to change. They need the environment to change. They need circumstances to change. So how will such people be happy in the COVID situation? But emotional intelligence means I don't need anything to be different. My emotions are independent of the environment. And no matter what the environment, I can choose my emotion. Like one person, he came home and told his wife, ha ha ha, I'm so happy. Wife said, what happened? I had a car accident. Car accident? And you are happy? He said, you know what? I have fractured my little, the car has got dented. She said, the car has got dented and you are happy? He said, look, the car can get replaced, It is not a problem. If I had fractured even my little finger, that would have been a real problem. Now imagine a situation where he has had an accident, but rather than becoming unhappy and angry over it, he is expressing gratitude. Thank you, God. You saved me through from a greater disaster. So this is the freedom to choose the emotions that we want. Now, when we say anger happens to us, that means we are not in charge of our emotions. If we were, we would say, I am becoming angry. But we are saying, anger is happening to me. Now, why is this anger coming? So we need to come to the bottom of it. You will never think of anger management until you realize that it is my control. But we are now saying, let us say you have realized that it is for me to control anger. Now the second point comes, that why do I become angry? And that will present us with the solution, how to conquer it. So the Vedas tell us anger is a symptom. It is not a disease. Yesterday, I thought, let me do a little search on what the world thinks about anger. Yesterday means that last night. So I just looked up at Google, and I did not find one website giving the actual cause of anger. So then where is the question of anger management? They will all give superficial things. You listen to music and you do this and you do that. But our Vedas are saying, Bhagavad Gita says, Sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bhijayate. Look, the reason for anger is desire. These wants we have, it should happen like this, it should not happen like this. This person should behave in this manner. This person should not behave in this manner. The moment we have these wants of ours, these desires, that when it is not fulfilled, it leads to anger. Let's say you wanted that your students should offer you good respect because that is the culture in which you grow up. So you developed an expectation that students should offer you good respect. And they did not fulfill your expectations. They behaved in a different way. So you had this desire, it got obstructed. That led to anger. The anger could be to different degrees. It could be just you suppress it inside, or you speak in a higher tone, or you shout, or even go into a rage. But no matter what, the cause of anger is always desire. So somebody came to me and said, Swamiji, everything else is all right in my emotional world, but I have a lot of anger. I said, look, if you have anger, anger is the cause. The root of it must also be there. So what is the root? The root of anger is desire. And the root of desire is what? Attachment. Our mind has got these attachments. Those attachments are leading to desires, and desires are leading to anger. So the whole sequence is given. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita goes into great detail. So if you would like, now in a little while, I can't explain the whole thing. So this book has just got published, The Science of Mind Management, but nevertheless, uh, attachment is causing desires, expectations, hankerings, and aversions. And unfulfillment of desires is causing outburst of rage. So, what is the solution then? The third part of it. The solution is also interestingly given 5,000 years ago in the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna, now this verse every Indian has heard. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Arjun, do your duty, but don't be attached to the outcomes. We are attached. ऐसा होना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. That attachment is causing frustration, anxiety, and even stress. And stress is causing problems in the body. Hypertension, diabetes, cardiac problems, ulcer, etc., etc. So Lord Krishna taught how to avoid stress itself. If you are not attached, instead of that, you focus on your efforts. So what is happening now? We are focusing on the outcomes. And we are not able to do our best in our efforts. Instead of that, if you can focus on your effort, the outcome will take care of itself. Somebody forwarded me a video of the latest cricket sensation. 18-year-old Yashasvi Jaiswal. So interesting that a few years ago, he used to sell pani puri. He's from a poor village. And some coach discovered him and then kept him under. And in a short while, just possibly last year, he was the youngest to score a double century in A-class cricket. And he got selected in the under-19 Indian team and went to the World Cup, where he became the highest scorer in the whole tournament. So in the interviewer from Untitled channel is trying to provoke him. And he says, look, there have been so many cases of people who reached the under-19 team, but that huge amount of fame and success was the result of their failure. So this young Yashasvi Patel, he says, look, my job is to play cricket to the best of my ability. I don't care. The results will come for themselves. I thought he is a proof of Lord Krishna's statement that when you are focused on your efforts, the results will take care of themselves. And when you are not attached, there will be no scope for anger. So, why do we become attached to outcomes? The last point. I don't want to cross my time limit in case it makes anybody angry. Just joking. So why do we become attached to outcomes? Big point. Because we are thinking the outcome is for myself. I am doing this because I am the enjoyer of the results. Whatever be the results, whether it is money, fame, sense of accomplishment, it is for my happiness. So as long as that urge is there, my happiness, there will be attachment to outcomes, and from attachment will come anger. Now, if we develop divine consciousness, it is not for me, It is for the Supreme. I am doing this work for the pleasure of the divine. When this becomes our consciousness, I am doing this for the pleasure of the divine. The intention will be purified. When the intention is purified, we'll be focused on doing our best. And we will leave the outcomes in the hands of God. You will discover that anger has completely disappeared. That is why in Indian history there were great kings, Prahlad, Dhruv, Ambarish, Prithu, Vibhishan. They were doing all kinds of worldly duties without any anger. So finally, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that is the true yogi. Yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. A true yogi is not one who can do chakrasan, mayurasan, or shirshasan. A true yogi is one who can do works without attachment. And that will happen when you purify the intention. Why are you doing work? So this is an analysis of anger which we have taken to the very root. I hope that has helped you in your emotional awareness, your emotional mastery, and your emotional empathy for what happens in others. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for making me a part of your 3-day program. Actually, I receive invitations from hundreds of organizations, and Diwakar sent me this. I saw the faculty and I said, half of them are Uriya people, which is my karma bhumi, and the other half, so many of them, they are from Andhra and Telangana, which I have started visiting. And that is the reason why I gave my consent. It's been a pleasure to be a part of your program. Thank you all for inviting me. Looking forward to connecting with you when I come to Hyderabad and Sikandrabad in future. Namaste.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you so much. Because I'm happy that I'm happy because the most angry human being is me, but no, I'm happy since there is a blessing. Blessing makes people change. And you have given so many examples, and that examples are quite to us. You take us back to to the age 5,000 years back of the Vedas. You're talking about Bhagavatam, you're talking about Bhagavad Gita and all. But all these things are very practicable. That's the way you make us to understand, and you make us to I hope that all of us in stress in some way or the other, and the anger comes to everyone. It falls on everyone. And beautifully you said that let you call anger, but don't fall into anger. Okay, thank you, Swamiji, for coming, because it's very difficult to find you. But thanks for your blessings, Swamiji. Thank you. Thank you, Haris sir, and thank you, Divakarji, for making it happen. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Shall we close it, sir, Swamiji?
Thank you.
Harisji, would you like to speak something?
Yeah, I would like to thank for organizing this event. It has been a very pleasurable thing for me listening to Swamiji, and also I'm quite delighted that you are organizing such an event for all the teaching staff, and especially the in this COVID situation, the employment opportunities have been very less, and then proper guidance to the students with proper emotional, like as Swaji said, people with high emotional quotient are actually high productive people. So in addition to the technical knowledge, it's quite pertinent that they also have the proper, behavior patterns. I We had our alumni meet of IIT uh, 5 6 years ago, and then during a 25-year eligibility, all the lecturers, professors who were still there, they all came. And when we all talked, none of us talked about our engineering mechanics, structural engineering, or mathematical things. Everybody talked about how we were emotionally connected after 25 years. So my sir said, so for 25 years, people have carried the emotional factors. The subject, it keeps dynamic, it keeps changing over a period of time. But these important ingredients of having a teamwork, collective work in a knowledge society, the teamwork also becomes very, very important. So I'm very, very happy that you have taken this initiative. The trainer will also help in training the students, and if students also become realize the importance of the human relationships, and then general performance. In fact, sometime back, people were even thinking the whole society has become so corrupt. So, is it because proper value systems are not being imparted at the college level, at the student level? So the value systems, these are all very critical for organizations. I thank you very much for doing this initiative, and also I thank you for calling Swamiji. It was a good learning. It was a good session for me also. I enjoyed every second of the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And I'd like to, Divakarji, would you like to speak something?
Yes, I just wanted to say, you know, I congratulate you for having this great session and inviting Swamiji for it. And personally, it has been a very enlightening session for me as well. So, Dr. Neelam Madhavji, we from JKU side, we thank you for inviting Swamiji and having this great program. That's all. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, Radhe. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Neil Madhavji, can I speak for 1 minute? Hello.
Yes, Kameshwar Ravji. Please, please.
Sir, I first of all, I thank you and your Saint Martin's team for somehow you are getting the valuable time of Swami Mukundananda this time for getting enlightenment regarding anger, especially. It is a main cause for many disasters, and he has addressed very effectively. And I am thank you for both the Swamiji, you and your team for making us for how to manage this anger and what are the causes of anger. Thank you very much, sir, for getting Swamiji for this. And everything is fine. Swamiji, what network Swamiji is using, his voice, content, communication, everything is perfect. So I am very thankful. Okay.
Kameshwar Ravji, what I'm talking about. I should be thankful to Harish sir and Divakar sir to make it happen, by the way. Okay.
Okay.
Them to make it happen. Because one thing I say, Divakarji, and he agreed upon, and the next day he was talking about me come back to you and talk to you what best can be done. And he did discussed and came back to us. And thank you, Divakarji. Thank you, Harish sir, for the making this Swamiji's program available with us, because it's impossible. Just not so impossible. That's what I thought, but it happened. Thank you. And I thank my principal sir and my HOD, because those who have given me permission, the autonomy to call whomsoever I feel like calling. So thank you to my management, and thank you, all of you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you.
Radhe Radhe.